Okay, hey guys, here's our next lesson. This is going to be Unit 5, Lesson 14, Finding Cylinder Dimensions. This is kind of a fun one, so we're just going to dive right in. Okay, so 14.1. What is the possible volume for this cylinder if the diameter is 8 centimeters? So the first thing that you're going to notice is that there is, let's zoom in here, that there is no height given, okay? And you will see that that isn't going to matter, or you're going to be able to figure out very quickly what that height is, okay? I'm going to change colors here today. We're going to do purple. Okay, so remember that our volume for a cylinder formula is V equals pi r squared h. And if you don't have this memorized yet, you will by the end of this lesson, because we are going to write it a lot, okay? So volume equals pi r squared h. So we have a diameter of 8. So we know that our radius is half of our diameter. So our radius is therefore going to be 4. Okay. So far in our formula, we know pi, obviously, and our radius, which is now 4 squared times the height. Okay. So we're going to simplify this. Volume equals pi 16h. Okay. And it is asking what is a possible volume. So there's a lot of ways you can do this. I just chose to say 1 for the height, and your volume is going to be 16 pi. Okay. Could you have put basically anything in for the height? Yes, you could have. And you would have been able to find some unknown volume. Okay. So that was just a little problem to get our brain going that like we usually do in class. So we'll now move on. Okay. So 14.2. Okay. This is an interesting problem. I'm not sure that I would ever expect you to do this on a test, especially remotely. So just bear with me on this one, okay? So it says the volume of a cylinder with radius r given by the formula volume equals pi r squared h, okay? So we know that formula is super important, okay? So do not forget this formula, commit it to memory, okay? Back to draw. So it says the volume of this cylinder with radius 5 units is 50 pi cubic units. So this statement that they're giving you, 50 pi, which is your volume, remember, equals 5 squared pi h. So what does the height of this cylinder have to be? Okay, so all you're going to do is solve for h, okay? So you could say the statement 50 pi equals 5 squared pi h is equal to 50 equals 25h. And then you're going to divide by 25, and h is going to equal 2. Okay? So for number 2, the volume of the cylinder with height 4 units is 36 cubic units. This statement that they gave you again is true. So what does the radius have to be? So all you're going to do is solve for r, okay? So 36 pi equals r squared times pi 4, okay? So if you use your calculators, which is totally fine, 36 pi is 113 point, we'll just say 0.1 equals r squared, and then pi times 4 is 12.57, okay? So now we need to get r squared by itself, okay? We know how to do that. We're going to divide by 12.57, divide by 12.57, and you're going to get, plug it into your calculator. Okay, so it's 8.99, so we're going to say it is 9 equals r squared to make the math nice. Okay. So now how do you get r by itself? We haven't done this yet. This is new. Okay, so we have the square. So the opposite of the square is a square root. So you take the square root of both sides. The square root of 9 we know is 3 equals r. Okay, simple as that. Not too bad. Okay. So now 14.3. Okay, this one's going to be kind of long and involved, but not too bad. Okay. So we have a cylinder here with everything labeled that we need. Okay. So you're looking at that in your book, and I'm going to go on to the next screen. Okay, because we need to fill in this table. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go row by row. Okay. I will do the math with you and then erase it. So if you're probably going to have to pause the video to write some of this down. Okay. So here we go. Remember again that our volume equation is volume. Let's see if I can do this here. Volume equals pi r squared h. Okay. And still keep this on here. So some of these we're going to be giving a diameter, some of them we're going to be given a radius, some of them area, height, volume, etc. Okay. So on the first one, we're given a radius. So how do you go from radius to diameter? Well, you know that the diameter or the radius is half the diameter. So then you would have to multiply by 2 to get to your diameter from your radius. Okay. So your diameter on the first one is going to be 6. Okay. You're given a height. We know how to find the area, right, of the base. Area equals pi r squared, area of a circle, right? So our area for this one is going to be pi. Our radius is 3 squared, or what's 3 squared? It's going to be 9 pi. Okay, so now we have all the information that we need. Okay, so to solve for our volume, that's what we're solving for now. So volume equals pi times 9 times 5. We already know where the 9 comes from, so I don't need to rewrite that. Okay, volume equals pi times 45, and there is no need to simplify this because of the rest of your answers. If you look over here, right here, are all in pi. So your answer is 45 pi. Okay. So we're going to call that one number 1. So number 2, remember your volume equals pi r squared times h. I'm probably going to say that 100 times in this section of video. Okay. So we know that our diameter is 12. So that means our radius has to be 6 because it is half of your diameter. So our area then is going to be pi times 6 squared, or 36 pi. We know our volume, so now we have to solve for our height. Okay, so we have an equation, which is volume equals pi r squared times height. Sorry guys, this stylus is really hard to write with. I ordered a better one. It should be here soon. Okay, so bear with me. So volume equals r squared times height. So we know our volume. It is 108 pi. We know our radius. That's 36 pi times h. Okay, we're going to come up here because I'm running out of room. So if you solve all of this out using your calculator, totally fine. 108 pi comes out to be 339.29. And then 36 pi is 113.097 is what I put, h. So let's do this, 0.097h. Okay, get h by itself. You're going to divide by 113.097. And nicely enough, h comes out to be 3. Okay? So your height is 3. So number 3. So we are not giving a ton of information on this one, okay? And it's new information. So we're given a height and we're given a volume, okay? So I'm actually going to just move this up so we have a little bit more of a workspace. Okay, so you're given a volume, 99 pi equals, and you're given a height, okay? Pi times radius squared times 11. Remember, again, volume equals pi r squared. Pi r squared is the area of your circle or your base times height. I can't say it enough to get it into your heads, okay? So to solve this out, 99 pi is approximately 311, is what my calculator came out to be. Yeah, 0.01, so 311 is fine. So if you look on this side, it might be a little confusing, but you can take pi times 11, combining like terms. Those are like terms. You can multiply those two together to get 34.56 r squared, okay? Now you have to get the r by itself, but you have to remember that it's still squared, so you can't get rid of that square just yet. Divide by 34.56, and you're going to get 9 on this side, okay? And r squared on this side, okay? So now this is going to look super familiar because you can take the square root, okay? And you're going to get 3 equals r, okay? So you can see that your radius squared is right here in your equation, right? So then that leaves your radius to be 3, and your diameter has to be 6. So pi times 3 squared, or 9 pi, is your area, okay? Not too bad. We're going to keep on moving, okay? So I'll leave our volume equation there. Okay, so number 4, we're given a diameter and a volume. So our volume is 16 pi equals pi r squared h, okay? We know our radius, right? Because it's half our volume, or half our diameter, excuse me. So 4 pi 4 squared, or 4 times 4 is 16 pi. So we have 16 pi equals pi times 16h. So at this point, there should be some obvious red flags going up. We shouldn't really have to solve any farther down because you know that your height is equal to your area, which means that your volume has to be 1. This is also what we saw in the very first problem that we did, okay? So number 5, this is where they're going to start getting kind of fun. Okay, so number 5, oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. Okay. So number 5, we are given a volume of 16 pi equals pi r squared and a height of 100. Okay? So really, we just need to start solving parts of these equations to figure out the rest of our information. Okay? So 16 pi is 50.27 equals pi times 100, which, okay, so pi is 3.14, times that by 100, you're going to get 314 point approximately 16 r squared. Okay, now we're going to solve for r, or r squared rather. divide by 314.16. You're going to get 0.16 equals r squared, okay? So then 0.16 is, let's see. So now we just need to, so we know that 0.16 pi is going to be our area, okay? And we need to take the square root, which is 0.4 equals r. Okay, so we know that our radius is 0.4, times that by 2, our diameter is 0.8. So therefore, our area must be 0.4 pi squared, or 0.16 pi. Okay, not too bad. Oops, I want to erase. Okay, so number 6, we are now given a radius and a volume. So we know that if our radius is 10, our diameter must be 20. So our area is pi times 20, pi times, my bad, 10 radius squared, or 100 pi. Okay, so now we have to solve for the height. So 20, this is getting really messy, hold on. Okay, volume equals pi r squared times height. We're given a volume of 20, so 20 equals pi. Our radius, we know, is 10 or 100 pi, 10 squared or 100 pi, so we're just going to put 100 pi h. Now we're just going to solve. Okay. Oh, I have pi in there twice. Sorry. We'll just erase this one. So equals 100 pi h. So solving for... Okay, I'm going to rewrite this because it's a mess. Okay, so 20 pi equals 100 pi h. 20 pi, 62.83 equals, we know what this is, 314.16 h. Divide by 314.16, divide by 314.16, and you're going to come up with h equals 0.2. Okay, so our height is going to be 0.2. Okay, number 7, getting close. Number 7, so we're given a diameter of 20, so we know that our radius is 10. Our area is the same as the last one, 10 pi 10 times 10 squared, or 100 pi. We don't know our height, and we're given our volume, so we need to solve for h one more time. But let's look at this one real quick. So our answer is just 314. We know that 100 pi is 314, so we know that our height has to be 1. Okay, if you want to solve it out, you can say 314 equals 100 pi times h. Okay, 314 equals 314, rounded, obviously, h. Divide by 314, divide by 314, h equals 1. Okay? And number 8 is what they usually do in these, where they just make you come up with everything else. Okay, so you're given your height, you're given your volume. So we know that our generic formula for area is a squared, or some number squared, times pi. So we can call our radius A. We know that this is 2A because you have to multiply it by 2, and that fills that in, okay? So instead of your homework now being on the Google Slides, you're going to have a Google quiz that you're going to take. It's not a quiz, it's just the homework, but it's just going to be easier to select answers. It'll just be all multiple choice, and then it'll come straight to me. There was a lot of confusion with the Google Slides as to the fact that you had to save a copy before you could use it, and we're just going to make it super simple. So I hope this went well. I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.